Hello and welcome to my channel all about accountancy, where we convert your accounting problems into solutions. I am your host Professor Tanmaypvttutor and welcome to a new video of journal. Before starting with today's video, I would like to remind you about the HSC Crash Course. The offline crash course is starting from 5th January 2019. So if you wish to enroll for this course or if you have any inquiries, you could contact me through social media. All my links are given in the description box down below. You could also send an email to me. My email ID is also given in the description box down below. Now let's talk about journal. In my last video of journal, I told you that journal is the book of prime entry because all the business transactions are recorded in the journal first. I also told you that the journal follows the double entry system of accounting, which means that every debit has an equivalent and corresponding credit. Then we talked about an account. We learned that every entity in the business has its own account, and these accounts can be further classified into real, personal and nominal. And finally, we saw the three golden rules of journal entries, that is, debit the receiver and credit the giver, debit what comes in, credit what goes out, and debit all expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gains. So today we are going to learn about the format of the journal, how to construct a journal entry, and some basic rules of journalizing. So let us begin. So the first thing that we are going to see now is the format of the journal. In order to see how to draw a journal, we will go into a different perspective. Hi guys, today let us see how to draw a journal. In order to draw a journal, first we would write the name of the entity or the name of the organization on the top. So I would write in the books of dash, whatever the name of the organization is, journal entries. After this we will draw some columns. The first column is the date column. Next comes particulars. Next comes LF. Next is debit rupees and credit rupees. Now if your sum has currency like dollars, yen, pounds, euros, etc., you will write that currency in this column. So let us draw the lines. After drawing the lines, our table would look something like this. So in the date column, we would write the date of the transaction. So we will always write the year on the top, then the month, for let us assume the month to be December and the date to be 1st. Then we would be just writing the dates, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. Now we always write the debit entities first and then the credit entities. So let us write the debit entity first. Debit entity account, and we write DR, that is debit, to credit entity account. Now whenever we write the credit entity, we add the word to before it, and we always keep some space over here. This is just a style of presentation. Some people do not leave this space. Some people don't even write the to, but this is how an ideal journal entry is to be written. Now the amount of the debit entity will come in the debit column over here, and the amount of the credit entity will come in the credit column. These two will never come in the same line. Debit is always on the top and credit is always on the bottom, and these two amounts have to be equal. After writing the entry, we would write a narration, and the narration always starts with the word being. A narration is a short summary of the journal entry. It is given for those people who do not understand the journal entry. They will read this narration and they will understand the transaction. This is how you draw a journal, and this is how you write a journal entry. Now let us see how to construct a journal entry. For this I would like to take an example. So let us assume that I purchased furniture for cash rupees 15,000 on 1st December 2018. So the first step to convert a transaction into an entry is to search for the main aspects. As we all know, as per the double entry system, there has to be at least one debit and one credit in a journal entry. So we are searching for at least two aspects. An entry can definitely have more than two aspects, but today on a simpler basis, I am just going to show you how simple journal entries are formed. So in this sentence, that is purchased furniture for cash rupees 15,000, I can see that I am purchasing furniture and I am paying cash. So my two aspects are furniture and cash. After you know what are your two aspects, your second step is to determine whether these aspects are real, personal or nominal in nature. So both furniture and cash are my properties, tangible properties, and hence both furniture and cash are real in nature. Now that I have identified the type of account, I can move on to the three golden rules of journal. So the rule for real account is debit what comes in, credit what goes out. So from this entry, I can clearly see that my furniture is coming in and my cash is going out. Hence, I am going to debit the furniture account and credit the cash account. Once you know what you are supposed to do, you can start writing. So let us see how to write this journal entry. Now let us see how to write the journal entry for this transaction. First we will write the date. So the date is 2018 December 01. As discussed earlier, our two aspects of this transaction are furniture and cash. Both furniture and cash are real accounts. Hence the rule that we will apply is debit what comes in, credit what goes out. So as I am purchasing furniture, the furniture is coming in. So I will debit the furniture account. And as the cash is going out of my business, I will credit the cash account. So as you can notice, I have left a small space. I have started the credit with 2 and I have written the credit entity. Now the amount 15,000. As I told you, these two amounts will never come in the same line. And the narration would be being furniture purchased for cash. So any layman who does not understand the journal entry can just read the narration and understand the transaction. Let us take another example so that it becomes a bit easier for you to understand. My next example is I purchased furniture from Sudhir on credit rupees 10,000. Let us assume the date of this transaction to be 2nd December 2018. So again, my first step is to identify the two aspects. So my first aspect is furniture only because I have purchased furniture. But am I paying cash for that? No. I am purchasing the furniture on credit from Sudhir, which means my second aspect is Sudhir. So my first step is complete. I have identified the two aspects, that is furniture and Sudhir. So now let us identify what type of account are they. So furniture is a real account because it is my property. But Sudhir is a personal account because Sudhir is a person. So we are going to combine two golden rules in this sum. Because for the furniture, we are going to use the rule debit what comes in, credit what goes out. And for Sudhir, we are going to use the rule debit the receiver and credit the giver. So let us think. I have purchased furniture, which means furniture is coming in. So I am going to debit the furniture account. On the other hand, Sudhir is the giver of that furniture and hence I am going to credit Sudhir. Now that we are sure about the journal entry, we can write the journal entry. So let us see how to write this journal entry. So for this transaction, our two aspects are furniture and Sudhir. Furniture being a property is a real account and Sudhir being a person is a personal account. So the rules to be applied for both these aspects are different. So let us start. 2018 December 2. So furniture is real account. So the rule for real account is debit what comes in, credit what goes out. I am purchasing the furniture and hence the furniture is coming in. Hence furniture account debit. $10,000. And Sudhir being a personal account, the rule is going to be debit the receiver and credit the giver. I have purchased the furniture from Sudhir, which means Sudhir is the giver of this furniture. Hence Sudhir's account will be credited to Sudhir's account. I have left some space and I have written the word to over here. 10,000. Again see to it that both these amounts do not come in the same line. And the narration will be being furniture purchased from Sudhir on credit. As I have not paid the cash, it becomes a credit transaction. Now, after seeing the format of the journal and how to construct journal entries, let us move on to some basic rules of journalizing. The first and foremost rule is that the name of the owner will never appear in his own books. For example, Ram's account will never appear in Ram's books. For the owner, we use two representative accounts, that is the capital account and drawings account. So whenever we want to pass a journal entry which is related to the owner, we will use the words capital and drawings. The next basic rule is personal accounts are not that important. If you remember, I had covered this point in one of the episodes of 60-second accountancy. You could definitely check the video. The link is given in the description box down below. For instance, if I am paying salary to Radha, then Radha's account is not going to appear in this transaction because I am paying salary. So salary is one aspect and the second aspect will be cash because it is salary paid to Radha. I have already paid. It is not a credit transaction, it is a cash transaction. And hence the word cash should be mentioned somewhere, either in the debit or credit. The third rule is goods account does not exist. In accountancy, goods is substituted by the word purchase account, sales account, purchase return account or sales return account. So whenever you want to write anything about goods, you should use only these four titles. And one more basic rule related to goods. Whenever goods are involved, the first thing is to search for cash or bank in the transaction. If cash or bank is not given in the transaction, but the name of the buyer or the seller is given in the transaction, that transaction is assumed to be a credit transaction. However, if both the name of the buyer or seller and cash or bank are absent, it is assumed that the transaction is a cash transaction. I'll give you some examples to clear your doubt. The first example over here is goods purchased for cash. So the two aspects in this transaction are goods and cash. As we know, goods and cash both are my properties and hence I will apply the rule debit what comes in and credit what goes out. So I have purchased goods, which means goods is coming in. Hence I will debit the goods account. But as we all know that goods account does not exist in accountancy, I have written the word purchase account over here and to cash account. In our second example, I have taken goods purchased from Shekhar for cash. So as per our rule, I have to search for cash or bank in the transaction. I can see that there is cash over here. So again, the main aspects of this transaction are goods and cash. Shekhar is of no importance over here. So again my entry will be purchase account debit to cash account. Our next example says goods purchased from Shekhar. So here for cash or bank is not given. Hence I am going to consider Shekhar in this transaction. So goods account, that is purchase account debit to Shekhar's account, because Shekhar is the giver of these goods, hence credit the giver. And last but certainly not the least, my transaction is goods purchased. This transaction is completely silent. Neither the name of the party is available nor cash or bank. In such situations, the transaction is always assumed to be a cash transaction. So I have purchased the goods against cash. So from all these 4 examples, you can see that personal account is always the last resort. So these are only a few basic rules. There are a lot of rules involved in journal entry. We will be seeing those rules one by one in my future videos based on journal. But that's going to be it for today. If you like my video, then please like it, share it, subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you never miss a new upload. I upload videos every Wednesday and Sunday. If you have any queries or suggestions, you can use the comment box down below. See you in my next video. Till then, this is Professor Tanmay Kesarkar signing off. Good luck and take care.